That missed on Monday as well, we're going over our subculture counterculture slideshow, and I'm going to give you my example as well. So you want to look at the introduction, okay? You've gained some knowledge about subcultures and countercultures, and now it's time to put that knowledge to the test. I want you to create a counterculture, subculture, or cult presentation to share with the class. All right? Make sure you want to go through this and read this, but I basically want you to identify. Step one, are you talking about subculture, counterculture, or cult, and why? All right? You can go back to the presentation that I just showed and look at some of those categories to help you with that. All right? The big thing you want to do is explain the characteristics of your group. If it's a subculture, explain why. Where do they come from? Where do they hang out? Where do they originate? Where can you find them locally? Think local if you can. What activities do you like to do? What's the belief system? What's the lingo? What's the language if they have one? What types of music do they listen to? What types of fashion do they have? Or any other interesting facts that you can find. Some of these will fit, some of these won't. Like for my example today, I don't have a music that my group follows. Okay? But for most of these, you should have some of these in your presentation. Okay? Make sure your presentation has multimedia facets. Pictures, maps, videos. Don't just have text on your slideshow. That won't cut it. All right? Provide a reference list. Have references where you got the information from. Put it on the slideshow for me. Have a works cited page at the end. 8 slides maximum. You can only have 8 slides. This is hard. It's really hard to make it less than that. All right? You can't. I've had some people come up here and it's their passion, and they literally have 30 slides that they want to get through. We just don't have time for that. 8 or less. That's a challenge. Okay? So I'm going to show you an example of what I think a quality presentation would look like. All right? And it's about me. So let's get started. If you go here, these are the instructions. This link right here is to my example. And I am, in the subculture group, I am a muskie fisherman. Okay? That's my subculture. Right? It's a recreational subculture, and let's find out why. Okay? A muskie fisherman is someone that enjoys chasing an elusive fish called a muskie. They're not easy to catch. You have to spend hours upon hours of trying to find them, days even, and you might not even catch one. It can be termed by some as very boring. Not like this class, but very boring sometimes. All right? We're called muskie fishermen. All right? What we want to do is, we're a recreational subculture. I do this in my free time. I do this with other people in my free time. And that our belief when we're doing this is that muskie fishing should be fun, but also the biggest belief of muskie fishermen, anyone who muskie fishes has one idea. If you catch a muskie, you must let it go. Okay? That's a big deal. You have to catch and release. We do not keep the fish. All right? And there's reasons for that I don't have time to get into right now. We can talk about that at the end. But that's a big deal. These reasons here is what makes my group a subculture. Those are my 3 facts. All right? What are the characteristics? What makes up a muskie fisherman? What do we have? If you want to be in this subculture, what to be identified as? You got to have patience. All right? It takes a really long time to catch a fish. It's not easy, and a lot of people quit. They don't like to do it because it's hard. Okay? Muskie fishermen are secretive. We don't want to tell other people when we catch a fish or how we're catching fish. We don't want to tell people how we're doing it because muskies, there's not a lot of them. And if everyone starts catching them, then it's really hard or impossible to catch a muskie. So you got to be secretive about how you're being successful. Okay? Muskie fishermen, unfortunately, are loners. Okay? We don't have a lot of fishing friends. You know why? Because no one wants to go fishing with us for hours and hours and hours and catch nothing. So usually we're by ourselves, and we usually have pretty bad communication skills because we want to be secretive. All right? Most muskie fishermen hate jet skiers. Why do they hate jet skiers? Because they're always coming close to you as you're trying to fish, making noise, getting around you, and stirring up the water. It's not fun. We do not like jet skiers around. If you see a muskie fisherman and you're on a jet ski, stay away. Okay? These are the characteristics. Okay? Where do we hang out? I just wanted to do some local angles. Where can you find muskie fishermen right now? The closest spot where I think you could find muskie fishermen is about 13 minutes away from here. If you went to a pier on Crystal Lake in Lakeville. You guys know where Crystal Lake is? Have you heard of Crystal Lake? There's a fishing pier there. If you go there, that's where you can find muskie fishermen from a dock trying to catch muskies. I believe also, where can you find muskies? Okay, they're found throughout the Midwest and in Canada. This is their home range. These are the waters they're going to be in. They're not everywhere. They're only in certain locations. So if you were looking for muskie fishermen, you'd want to be in these states. If you're out in California, you're not going to find many. Okay? Like I said, locally, we can find muskie fishermen right in Crystal Lake. The look. We do have our own clothing. All right? We have to wear clothes. Okay? There's a few things. One, you can wear a jacket. Okay? But most of the time when we go fishing, it's not too rainy out. But we do have to wear a few things. Okay? Let's take a look. What's the look? We have to wear a hat. Why do we wear a hat? Okay? Because we want to be able to look in the water. So we want to be able to see down without catching the glare. You have to have sunglasses on because you need to be able to see into the water. Because muskies don't just bite. They follow. So you'll be reeling in your lure and they will follow up behind the lure. And sometimes you need to see that in order to catch the fish. All right, and I'll get into that later. We also have a sun scarf. This is a sun scarf. It's built in. Why do we wear one? Because you're on the water for hours and you're in the sun and it's beating on your skin and you can get sunburned really easy. Okay, so this is a way to protect your face and your skin and your neck back here, so you wear a sun scarf. All right. Also, I have, for me, have a hood. You can wear a hood as well. Keeps the sun off you. All right, and this is kind of what, when you see people on the water wearing this, they're usually muskie fishermen. Why are you looking at me so crazy? Okay? So, yeah. So, when I'm on the water, this is what I do. Hood up, scarf up, and I'm ready to go. And this is how I fish. Long sleeves. Because sun is the biggest enemy of any muskie fisherman. I even have gloves I wear too. So I got to keep the sun off me. And most people do.
Don't you get hot really fast?
Huh?
Don't you get hot really fast?
Good question. Don't you get hot really fast? Do you notice people that live in hot climates, aren't they covered from head to toe? Don't they get hot?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I've talked to many women in my ESL class who are wearing hijabs when it's very hot out, and they say, no, Chris, it's very cool. Okay? It does keep you cool. Feel the material. Okay? You'd be surprised how cool. It keeps moisture off you. You actually stay very cool, and it keeps your skin not becoming fried. When I was younger, I used to have called what's raccoon eyes. My whole face would be red, and I just have these big white spots around my eyes from where my glasses lenses were protecting me. That's not a good sign. So you always want to protect your skin, all right? And that's a big thing that's really come along in the last couple of years, all right? Lingo. We have our own language, all right? If I said, ask me, did you catch a muskie today?
Did you catch a muskie today?
No, I lost one on the 8. It came up both sides, flared up, and I just lost her right at the end of the hook. Okay, what did I just say?
I don't even know.
I don't know. It was English, but you don't understand what I just said. Because we have our own lingo. A few things I'm going to teach you is, one, we have what's called a bucktail. A bucktail is a lure. It has metal blades, and it has, like, fur on it. And you cast it out and you reel it in, and fish bite it. And that's called a bucktail. So if I say, oh, I lost one on a bucktail in the 8, what am I talking about? The figure 8. The figure 8 is a maneuver. I said these fish follow, right? And they don't eat your lure. What you have to do is you look for the fish in the water as it comes up to the boat. You don't want to stop the lure. That's the worst thing you could do. What you do is you go faster. You try to pull the lure away from the fish because that's what happens in nature. If a big fish is chasing a little fish, do they stop and say, eat me? No, they swim away faster. So what you do is you crank up your speed, you get close, and then you make a big figure 8 with your rod in the water. You stick your rod all the way down and the fish chases it, and sometimes they eat it. And that's really fun. All right? Let's take a look. I have an example of what that actually looks like. Here comes the fish. Chasing a bucktail in the 8. Oh, and then she ate it in the 8. Okay? That's what a figure 8 can do for you. And that's, let's see if I can find, I have one more for you that's a little maybe better that we could use. Oh, not you too. Sorry, I guess I don't have it. I'll have to show this some other time. So, that's what a figure 8 would do. Also, every muskie fisherman is looking for one thing and one thing only. They're looking for a 50. That's a lingo. When you say, oh, I caught a 50 today, what does that mean?
50 inch?
50 inches. A 50-inch fish. We measure all the fish we catch. If you catch a 50-inch fish, that's the benchmark. That means you caught a trophy. Okay? That's a really big muskie. Okay? And so if someone comes and says, I caught a 50 in the 8, that means they caught a 50-incher and they caught it in the figure 8. That's the lingo. All right? So, bucktail. Okay? What are our beliefs? Okay? Muskie fishermen have a few beliefs. All right? 1, most muskie fishermen are environmentalists. They want to keep waters clean. Clean water equal more fish. So it's very simple. Keep the water clean. Conservationists. They believe in catch and release. Everybody comes up to me and says, Chris, you caught this big fish. Why didn't you eat? If we eat all the fish, there's no fish left to catch. So you got to make sure when you catch one, you let it go. It's very important. There's not a lot of fish in the water for us to have, and the fish we catch, they're 20 to 30 years old. So if you kill one of those fish, especially the big ones, it takes 20 or 30 years for that fish to be replaced by another big one. That makes sense? So it's really important. If we want to keep catching big fish, we can't kill them. All right? We're superstitious. We have favorite lures. So I have a basement full of lures hanging up on a garage, and I've got names for them and all kinds of things. It's really sick. All right? So, and also, we want to have more people come fish. We want to try to take kids fishing as much as we can. So these are a couple of our beliefs as muskie fishermen. And I think that's it. Okay? So, now I know you have a lot of questions, and I don't have time to answer them all, but I want you to come back and think about some things that I did well. All right? What I'm looking for when I give this presentation, or when you give this presentation, I did a few things. Okay? For step 1, I said, hey, this is why my group is a subculture. And how did I get this information? You know what I did? I went back to the first slideshow that I showed you and looked at subculture and looked at what was highlighted. Okay, when I did that, this helped me define, okay, hey, what are my beliefs? What are we looking for? What do we believe in? All of these things are put into a subculture. Next, all right, characteristics. I explained, hey, who are muskie fishermen? What do they believe in? What do they look like? Where are you going to find them? And I looked at all these different things. And during this time, did I just have text? No, I made this a multimedia presentation where there's a lot of different things happening. I made sure I had pictures, videos, all these things because we want to see your subculture visually as well as you talk about it. All right? I've had people like myself dress up for their presentation. Okay? I had somebody who's a Wiccan who brought in all their like Wiccan tools and wore like a skirt and a witch's hat and all kinds of stuff. I've had a bunch of different things. So I've had a juggalo dress up with face paint and come in as a juggalo. I've had a bunch of different ideas. Huh?
A what?
A juggalo.
Yeah.
A juggalo is a fanatic fan of the band ICP, the Insane Clown Posse. Okay, and so this person brought in a bunch of stuff for that. What you need to do is, like I said, pick something that you're interested in, but make sure when you're giving this presentation, don't just have this. That's it. That's boring. Make sure you have some images. Make sure you have some videos. Make sure we can see what we're talking about. Less text is better. You need to be the expert. Okay? I was the expert up here. I don't even really remember reading much of my slide information. I just was talking to you. That's what I expect. I want eye contact with the audience. This is the worst thing you can do. Lingo language. Even lingo is different. For example, you don't want to look at the screen and present. You want to make eye contact with the audience. All right? One other thing. Hey, I know it's 3 o'clock. It's almost 4 o'clock right now. You've been in school for a while. This is the worst thing you do. Hi, my name is Chris. I'm going to talk to you today about muskie fishing. I am a muskie fisherman. What am I doing right now that's wrong? Anyone want to tell me? Huh? Talking like a robot, right? It's called monotone. Make sure you have some fluctuation in your voice. Make sure that you're trying to show some excitement. If you're excited, other people can be excited as well. Okay? Any questions, comments, concerns? On Monday, you're going to have a chance to work on this. Your goal for Monday is to pick out what type of group you want to start looking at and start your research. Now, biggest thing, I can't stress this enough. Katie, please remind students. Right here is the rubric you'll be graded by, and your students, your peers will be grading you as well. Make sure you create your slideshow with the blank Google slide I provided for you. So you have to go into Schoology, into the assignment, and use the slideshow I made. Don't make your own slideshow, okay, in your own Google Docs. Because then you'll have to copy and paste all the slides into the assignment. Does that make sense? Open up the assignment, go to My Document, and then I'm going to have a blank slides there sitting for you. Don't open it and do it on your own. That's going to be a pain in the butt for you later. Make sense? Okay. You guys are going to be on your own on Monday working on this project. Forward all questions to Katie or Kirkova or Dylan if you have any. Okay? Because I got faith. Thank you. Cut.